The Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station has been a fixture for more than 40 years on the coast of Plymouth, just 13 miles from the Sagamore Bridge. It has provided power to hundreds of thousands of customers over the years, but the nuclear plant is one of the 3 worst out of nearly 100 reactors in the whole country, according to the federal agency that oversees it. The plant has been plagued with problems since opening in 1972, including numerous equipment malfunctions and safety-related systems that have failed when needed for backup. If there's a major accident or disaster at Pilgrim, Cape Cod residents should worry about their safety, according to several anti-nuclear watchdog groups like Cape Cod Downwinders.
My name is Diane Turco, and I live in Harwich. I've lived there for over 30 years, and I am a director of the Cape Downwinders. We're an organization of citizens who are very concerned about the operation of the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Reactor. We began over, maybe 20 years ago as an activist volunteer group when we learned of the dangers that Pilgrim presented to the whole community. When Cape Downwinders found out that the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency had a plan for the Cape Cod bridges to be closed and to keep us trapped when a radioactive plume was coming our way, we found that completely unacceptable. We need to stand up for public safety because our government is not doing it for us.
Officials from Entergy, which owns the plant, have repeatedly said the safety of the public has never been at risk. They have touted nuclear energy as a low-cost power source that is a much-needed alternative to burning fossil fuels like coal. But Entergy announced that the plant will be closed down in 2019, largely due to financial reasons.
After careful analysis, it became clear that Pilgrim is simply no longer financially viable. Our decision to close Pilgrim was based on a combination of reduced revenues, poor market structure, challenging regional energy policy, and increased operational cost.
What will happen to the plant's 600-plus workers is a paramount concern for the surrounding communities.
One of the concerns with the closure of the plant is what's going to happen with the 600 employees that are currently on the site. And we've already started discussions with members of the higher education community, particularly Massasoit Community College, Cape Cod Community College, Curry College, Quincy College, Bridgewater State University, about are there retraining opportunities and what can we do to keep those people who are employed at the plant who would like to stay in the Plymouth area here. We've had some discussions with the plant about working with the colleges and the universities in the area about identifying workforce development needs for their employees and developing programs, and we hope to continue those discussions as they get closer to the shutdown.
Also at issue is what to do with the spent fuel rods, which are still highly radioactive and continue to generate significant heat for decades after a plant's decommissioning.
One of the questions that we had to the NRC is, what would it take for the town of for us to make the case in regards to making sure that instead of going to safe store, those spent fuel rods went into what they call prompt decommissioning at the nuclear power plant. And we were told that from the NRC at the time that the Plymouth Nuclear Power Plant is in a different situation than the Vermont power plant because they only had $600 million, but we had $900 million in our fund, and that because of that they had the ability to do what they call prompt decommissioning instead of putting it into safe store, and that we believe is what should be happening. We want to get that plant decommissioned and back to usable land as soon as possible. We have this amazing coastline, about 120 some odd acres of land right on the coastline, that once that plant is totally decommissioned and that land is back in use, we can then go and get significant tax revenue from that land. And that is a hope as a community that we'd like to see, not waiting 60 years.
Many people on Cape Cod say 2019 is too long to wait for the plant to be shut down, and the plan to help the community in the event of a disaster is subpar.
Cape Downwinders found that the emergency plans for Cape Cod would include closing the bridges and only allowing emergency vehicles to travel over those bridges. And we said, well, if the plume's coming our way, what are we supposed to do? We're trapped here. And that's where we got the moniker, No Escape from the Cape. The Sagamore Bridge will be closed so that it does not impede the traffic evacuating from Plymouth. They will be putting up barriers on Route 6 to get the traffic off the highway. Also, the plan for Cape Cod is to have potassium iodide pills. Now, in 2001, the Massachusetts legislature voted to have these pills distributed throughout Cape Cod because we're going nowhere. Potassium iodide it's a kind of a salt that protects your thyroid from intaking the radioactive iodine that will be in the fallout after an accident. Radioactive iodine causes thyroid cancer, particularly in babies, children, and the fetus. They're the most susceptible to the damage of ionizing radiation. This is unacceptable. This is a corporate pill to protect the profits of Entergy Corporation. It's socialized medicine for private profit, and we find this unacceptable.
In early December, 20 inspectors from around the country assigned by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission will visit Pilgrim to take a sweeping look at the plant's systems and staff. The report from the inspectors is expected to help determine the fate of the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station.